Disclaimer, I am by no means a professional character designer. I'm just artistic, and my special interest is art and character design. I one day aspire to be a professional though, so please don't take anything that I say as the law. And if you disagree with my choices, please leave what I could do to fix them in the comment section. Also, I'm using a text-to-speech because I physically cannot stand hearing my voice in a recording. So I apologize if it's difficult to listen to. For context, I've been a long-time fan of Yandere Simulator ever since the game came out. I specifically remember when the school looked super gray and everything was simple. I remember watching a bunch of my favorite YouTubers play the game. So I'm not speaking from a hater's perspective. I've genuinely loved this game for years. I won't talk about Yandere himself, or the game coding, or mechanics, but what I will talk about is the designs of certain characters. There's certain problems I have with these characters, from an aspiring character designer's perspective, such as same face and body syndrome, lack of diversity, especially in the uniforms, the inaccuracy of said uniforms, and the dreaded written by a man syndrome. This video is a compilation of my redesign series that I did on TikTok. You can find the unedited drawings over on my Twitter. And of course, if you disagree with my choices, you are more than welcome to let me know what I can fix. I hope you enjoy. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really have much of a problem with Ayano's design. It's bland, it's simple, it's iconic. She doesn't stand out from a crowd. I like it, so I'm mostly drawing her how I remember, longer skirt and black tights. I did change her hair a bit, it's a homage to Desai. I also gave her a spider lily in her hair, and gave her a white headband, so now she looks like your forger, a bit which is fitting. I wanted to give her a sharp needle in her hair, so that she could attack whenever, but I feel that would be too on the nose. And here's my version of Ayano. As you can see, it's pretty similar to the original. Unlike Ayano, InfoChan I had a massive problem with, because she feels way too simple. She doesn't have any defining features other than her hair. I took some liberties, and inspired their new design a bit off of Futaba from Persona, mostly with the jacket and headphones, and Najimi from Komi can't communicate with the thigh-highs and skirt. Similarly to Najimi, I wanted to make them genderqueer, gender fluid. Didn't change the hair much, just made it a bit shorter. Gave them mismatching programmer, socks and loose socks with sandals. Gave them a cable wire belt with some USBs hanging off, and a little clicker hair clip. And that's my InfoChan. I really like how they turned out. Here's Ayano next to InfoChan. For Osana, I decided to lean more into the Gyaru aesthetic, since she seemingly has a connection with the bullies, but more of a light Gyaru like Momo Yasi. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not feeling the polka dots. It feels too bubbly for her. I did lean more into a cat motif for her, since she likes cats in the game. I don't like how in most redesigns people get rid of her twin tails. In my opinion, they're pretty, iconic, so I kept them. I just curled them up a bit to fit the Gyaru aesthetic. I also gave her a bit of a tan, not super tanned, but since she likes boys with tans, I thought it would fit. Is she giving Karain from 100 Girlfriends yet? But here's my version of Osana. And as a bonus, here's my version of Raibaru. She had a dog motif to contrast Osana's cat motif. Also because acts like Osana's loyal guard dog. Honestly, I really like the design. It's cute, and it gets the job done, but how could we improve it? She has a lot of mint in her design, and her socks kinda look like candy, so I wanted to give her a mint chocolate motif. Because she's so sweet. Get it? And as I was designing her, I realized that she kinda looked like strawberry shortcake. So I definitely got inspired off of that in Cooking Mama. I puffed up her skirt, gave her a larger apron, and put some melted chocolate colors. I also gave her a bigger body type, because it makes her shape language rounder. And that's such a cutie. This character definitely suffers the most from the lack of outfit diversity, because no way someone with her personality would wear a plain uniform. She looks like Kokona with roses in her hair. I exaggerated her defining features like the hair, giving her bigger twin tails like Celeste from Danganronpa. I like the purple, but I decided to change the red to magenta to make it seem more feminine. Also because it was too close to the purple in the grayscale. I gave her a big puffy skirt. A lot of characters in anime with this personality often have big skirts. Same with the thigh-highs, but I added a garter to make it fancy. I like the rose motif, and I definitely tried to do her justice by keeping it. And that's my Kizana. I think Oka is cute, and I like that they didn't go for the alt equals rude trope. But this is one of the characters that I definitely do not think would wear such a short skirt. She's literally covering herself in her character sprite. So I made it longer. I also gave her a cardigan. I kept the hair, but I covered one of her eyes to make her look more shy. I replaced her tights with loose socks and sandals. I wanted to make her look more sleepy, like she would be the type to sleep in the library. Speaking of library, I also changed her club from occult club to librarian. I do not believe that a highly prestigious high school would allow for an occult club. Especially being in such a conservative country like Japan, they would get to many complaints from parents. She's still a cult-obsessed, but it's more of a student-owned non-official club. I also gave her a little spider plushie, cause I think it's cute. It's like a little reading buddy. I really like the spider motif in the original, so I kept that. And there's Oka. Asu's design in the original is pretty good. It definitely screams, I like sports. But it's sort of a generic I like all sports instead of having a focus. She seems to be more focused in leg-heavy sports, like track and swimming. So I made her more built in the legs. I also made her the swim club leader. Made her a bit more blue to contrast the yellow. Darkened her tan BC, it's giving Genshin Impact tan. I really tried to make her jacket around the waist work. But I feel like it would get in the way of her running. I tried to give her the uniform, but I feel like it would work better if she was just constantly in the gym uniform. Gave her the little thing that Aoi has in Danganronpa on her leg. Gave her a lightning bolt-shaped whistle and a little ponytail in the shape of a lightning bolt. Her hair itself is inspired by All Might. Just gave her a lightning bolt motif. And that's my Asu. This character suffers the most from written by a man syndrome. She looks like she came straight out of a corno. I did not know that this character was supposed to be a student at first, and that's a huge problem because if I couldn't tell, then most people probably can't tell either. So my first step was to make her look younger. I just made her stubbier and gave her some ponytails, inspired off of Nurse Joy from Pokémon. I just tried to make her look more clumsy. That is her trope after all. So I gave her bandages and band-aids everywhere like she's constantly tripping or getting hurt, like Mikan from Danganronpa. Everything in my brain told me to give her big old glasses. Now she looks like Miyuki from Lucky Star, a bit who is also a bit clumsy, especially with the more salmon hair. And that's my version of Muji. This was my favorite redesign. I didn't even want to touch this character. I was so stuck on what I should even do, but I at the very least wanted to try. I hated all of the redesigns that removed the elements that made her sexy, or straight up remove her chest. Like that does not fix the problem. The problem is that she's a predator, lusting over a boy, and it's played as a good thing. I still tried to make her cunty, inspired her. No outfit off of Miss Bellin from the Powerpuff Girls. And Washimi from Agrestuko. Still sexy, but workplace. Appropriate sexy. I also gave her the sexy glasses. Now she's giving Bayonetta a bit. Removed her socks, replaced them with boots. I tried to make them look like pencils. I also added a ruler in her hair and gave her protractor earring and an apple skirt. And now I'm gonna address the elephant in the room. I decided to change her to being the hot sub that a lot of the boys have a crush on, but she's not aware of this. And she dresses sexy to get the attention of one of the teachers, BC Yuri. Being an adult and much smarter, she clocks Ayano's weird behavior, and perhaps you have to frame her as a groomer. Someone brought this up and I want to highlight that in a darker version of Yandere Simulator, it would be interesting if the predator aspect was still there, but there to show how senpai is affected by it. It could be a good potential for a narrative icon moral oral. The problem with Yanson's version is that this aspect of the game is clearly supposed to be part of Yandere's fetish, and not a genuine topic to bring light to how common grooming can be, especially male victims. Not to mention that it wants to take a DDLC-type route and start silly but get more serious along the way. But the game's concept is way too unserious to dive into any serious topics. My version of Yandere Simulator is much more silly and cute, so I don't think it would be appropriate for me to keep it. But I would like to see someone else's interpretation of it. I don't think I'm qualified to do that. But here's my Mida. I hope I did a good job at fixing her. For someone who's supposed to be the leader of the delinquents, she sure doesn't look the part. She looks too cute to be a delinquent. The only thing to communicate that she's tough is the single cut on her face. The rest of her body is practically unscarred. This is another one of the characters I do not think would wear such a short skirt, even with shorts. Actually, I don't even think she would wear a skirt. I know that long skirts are common for delinquents in anime. But those are for more feminine delinquents. I saw this one person headcanoning her as a butch, and I adore that so much. So I decided to give her the male uniform. I inspired her fit off of Manjiro from Tokyo Revengers. Instead of rolling up her sleeves, she has them ripped. Same with her pants. I don't think she would be wearing an unaltered uniform. Her jacket is ripped. Why not the uniform? I shaved half of her head and gave her a snake print on the shaved part. I tried to give her a snake motif. I like the jacket over the shoulders. It makes her look badass. Too bad that's her only defining feature. I gave her a long snake tattoo over her arm. I'm surprised I don't see more people drawing her with tattoos, since they're pretty commonly associated with gangs in Japan. Along with giving her a snake, accessory on her weapon bag that I added. I don't think she would try to cover her scars. She'd be the type to want to show them off to show how tough she is. I gave her one massive scar over her face like Sakura from Danganronpa. And here's Osoro. I love her so much. I'm so serious. I didn't have a lot to work with for Hanako. Her design is such a nothing burger. The only thing that sets her apart is her hair clip. She definitely suffers from same girl with a different hairstyle syndrome that a lot of the characters have, and for the 9th rival. That's really bad. In terms of lore, I changed her to being a young prodigy. She skipped a few grades. Now it's an as a manga reference. Her being elementary aged in a high school would make her the target for bullying. And also everything is sized so big for her, and Senpai needs to keep all of his attention on her, and her being clingy makes more sense because she's so young. Speaking of as a manga, I definitely got inspired off Chiyo-chan in terms of the design, especially with the pigtails. I also inspired her off of Kariyuki, and I think you can tell. I wanted to give her a tailored uniform, but I thought it would be cute to give her an oversized uniform. I gave her an apple motif because apples are associated with knowledge, curiosity. And also because I saw someone else giving her an apple pen and I thought it was cute. But here's my Hanako. This is my daughter BTW. Megami's design is by far my favorite, the new one anyways, because she has a unique uniform, being the student council leader. But I don't get the long gloves and lace. Thigh highs, that's more. Something Kizana would wear to look pretty, not her. I just gave her gold shoulder pad and silver hair clips on both sides of her head. I think you can tell, but I based her design off of Lady Satsuki from Kill La Kill. I turned her thigh highs into boot heels, tried giving her a commander feel. I also gave her a little braid like Kyoko from Danganronpa. Here's my Megami, not much to change about this original design. It's pretty perfect. In terms of his design, I made him a bit bigger. I wouldn't call him chubby, but he's got that Lyos dungeon meshy build. Curled his hair and turned it brown to make him and Ayano look less like siblings. Also tanned his skin, BC Osana and Am I both like boys with tans. 10 moles on his cheek for each of the rivals. Something inside my brain told me to give him big glasses. Now he looks like a cute dork. Personality-wise, I tried to think of characters like Okarun, Rentaro, and Kobayashi, who actually deserves the amount of admirers they have. So I made Taro a sweet and honest guy, and very emotionally intelligent, but he's a bit of a pathetic yes-man. He's a little lazy and spends most of his time reading horrible books, but he has this contagious trait of making people open up to him and feeling better just by being there and talking to them. I came to base this trait off my boyfriend Law. He tries to make everyone he's around happy. He basically gets along with everyone. And that's why he has so many girls who want to date him. He's very pure-hearted. He's just trying to be friendly, but the girls interpret that as him flirting and catch feelings. But there's my Taro. I am not a writer. I just based him off the fictional men that I'm attracted to. What do y'all think? But that's all of my redesigns. Here's everyone lines up in a nice, neat line.